Okay, scholars, welcome back to Math is My Jam. As you see in the title, today we're going to be dividing fractions by fractions. So, our first question that we have here, or our first problem, is going to be 2/3 divided by 3/5. So, in my class, there's a little acronym that I use to help my scholars to remember the different steps for doing this, for dividing fractions. And that acronym is called KCF. Now, when you think about KCF, you may be wondering, what does the K and the C and the F, what does everything all stand for? So I'll go ahead and tell you. The K stands for keep. The C stands for change. And the F stands for flip. Okay, so that's where we get KCF from. So now we're going to go back into this problem and we're going to just kind of cluster this. And you go ahead and do this on your paper as well. So you understand exactly where each step goes. Okay, I'm going to come over here on the other side, squiggly, 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 squiggly. And I'm going to rewrite the problem one more time. So it was 2/3 divided by 3/5. Now, from here, I'm simply just going to follow the steps that I have laid before me. So the first thing that I said I was going to do, I was going to keep this 2/3. Okay. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to change that and I'm going to flip that. So when I rewrite it, I'm going to go 2/3. Now, it's very important to remember it's not just that you're going to change this symbol, but you're going to change it to its inverse. You're going to change it to its inverse. Okay. And when we say inverse, we're speaking about the opposite technically in mathematical terms. But the inverse of division is multiplication. So we're going to change that to a multiplication symbol. And you will notice that in middle school math and beyond, we no longer use the X to represent multiplication. We tend to use a dot or use an asterisk or something else or parentheses. So now I have to flip this. I have to flip this last value here. And instead of having 3/5, I'm going to have 5/3. Okay, so once I do KCF, the final part, okay, so after you do KCF, then you are going to multiply across. You're going to multiply straight across, okay? So I'm going to multiply 2 times 5, which gives me 10. Then I'm going to multiply 3 times 3, which gives me 9. And pretty much that's it. Now, we notice with this fraction, the numerator, which is our top number, is larger than our denominator. So in this case, your teacher will likely want you to reduce this fraction or what we call convert this fraction into a mixed number. So that's for a completely another lesson, okay, when we're converting back to mixed numbers. So we're just going to leave it at this for now. But the proper thing would be to go ahead and convert. Okay, you want to simplify this. You never ever want to leave it as an improper fraction. But we have a whole other video that is dedicated to that. So we're just going to skip to our next problem. All right, scholars. In this problem, we're going to divide 2/4 by 2/3. 2/4 divided by 2/3. And so You can feel free to pause the video at this time to make sure that you can work ahead and see if you can solve it on your own, and then use the video to double check yourself. If you remember, our acronym was KCF. We're going to keep, change, flip. So again, it may help to cluster everything. And a common misconception with scholars is that they tend to want to flip the first value. That is a big no-no. We do not want to flip the first value. We want to flip this value, which is our final value, which is in this case 2/3. You cannot flip the order of how you do KCF. You need to do KCF in the order that it's presented. So I'm going to rewrite it on this side here, squiggly, squiggly. Then I'm going to go 2/4. Remember, I'm going to change this symbol. That turns into multiplication. I'm going to flip the next symbol. So now the 3 goes on top and the 2 goes on the bottom. It becomes 3/2. That's how you read that. And if you remember, the final step, and sometimes scholars get caught up here, they want to do butterfly method, they want to cross multiply. No, you're going to multiply. You're going to multiply across. We're going to multiply across. So in this case, I'm going to multiply 2 times 3. That value is 6. I'm going to multiply 4 times 2. That value is 8. And this fraction can also be reduced. Okay, but I'm not going to add more in order to confuse you here. Again, this will be in a separate video of how to reduce and simplify fractions. So right now, if you can just get to this step, you're doing awesome. You're doing great. And for our final question, we're going to divide 2/5 by 2/3. 2/5 divided by 2/3, as usual. Go ahead and pause the video, work on this, and see if you can solve it on your own. Okay, so what are the steps that, or the acronym that we know that can help us solve this type of problem? Yes, you got it. KCF. And I like to joke around and call it Kentucky Chicken Fried instead of Kentucky Fried Chicken. But KCF is going to give us our answer here. It's going to help us get to our answer. So here I go, squiggly, squiggly, squiggly. I'm going to rewrite this problem on the opposite side here. So I'm going to keep 2/5 just as it is. I'm going to change division to multiplication. And I'm going to flip 2/3, and that's going to become 3/2. Okay. Final step. Multiply, you guessed it, across. Multiply across. So I have 2 times 3. That's going to give me 6. Then I have 5 times 2, which is going to give me 10. This fraction can be reduced. This is not simplest form. It can be reduced. But please make sure you watch our next video that's going to show you how to reduce fractions and how to make your teacher happy with this. But also, when you reduce the fraction, it just kind of simplifies it for you so you can see it in the simplest way possible. So make that a hard, fast rule that you will always double check to see if the fraction can be reduced or simplified at the end. And that's it for today's video, scholars. So tune in next time to Math is My Jam, and we're going to keep jamming. We're going to keep rocking out to our math. You guys have a great day.